Welcome to Apocalypse.
I need to get to Brecon.
You mean Brecon in Wales? That the yellow route?
Yeah, the yellow route.
Right. So what are you thinking, guys? How are you thinking of getting there?
Should we take the van?
I need that van. Nice try, though. Come up with something. How can you get there? You walk, and there's loads of infected people out there. All right? It's bloody scary, okay?
Ian, it's time to introduce the existence of the shortwave radio in another building outside of the fence.
Look, I think I know where you could find a shortwave radio.
Could we call someone on that?
You could use it to send out a signal on the emergency frequency. There's only one problem, though. It's outside the compound. I'd gone there before, but I just stopped going because there's too many infected people.
What do you think we should do, Stephen?
We've got to get that and try and contact someone, really, haven't we?
You going?
Yeah, I'll go, yeah.
What you got to do if you encounter infected people? No eye contact, no contact at all, no touch, nothing. You go into stealth mode if you see them. You freeze. If they start getting agitated at all, you freeze, okay? They will calm down again. And when they've calmed down, very, very tiny footsteps to get away. Up for this?
Yeah.
Doing it? All right.
What are you doing? Alright, okay, I've been here 2 days, alright? Okay, I'm blue, alright?
Who are you?
My name's Danny. Who are you? What have you been saying? What have you been saying?
We're on the other side of the compound. Why are you in the middle of an infected area?
I was out, I was looking for stuff, I was looking for something to eat. I came out, I missed the evacuation. And I've been in here for 2 days.
When were you tested?
Just before the evac, 3-4 days ago. I'm clean. Right? Look at me. Well, how come you didn't...
You just stay there. I'm waiting for the CB.
CB ready?
Yes, I think there's one here. I didn't mean... Good. That's a very job,
Good.
You doing?
No, well, I'll come with you. I'll come with you, right? Come on, look. You kicked my door in, it's not safe here.
Ian, let Stephen decide. Just want to see if he takes pity on Danny.
Stay there.
Keep an eye on him. Do you want him with us?
I haven't got anything here, right? I haven't got any water, I haven't got any food left.
Can't leave him. What? Can't leave him.
Right.
You want to take him with us? Gonna have to.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea, all right?
You're lucky. You're lucky he's a nice guy. I bring you here.
That's you. You're safe.